Hello and welcome back. It's not spooky season if you're not talking about George Romero. And I've decided to talk about Dawn of the Dead. Yes. Yeah. With flashlights in the dark. I don't know what this looks like, but I'm hoping it looks creepy. Because it needs to be appropriately creepy for George Romero. So, I also reviewed Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, which is a remake of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And I wanted to get them both out at the same time. So, what are the differences between the two versions? Well, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead decided, I don't need that many cast members. It has a lot of the same ideas. They're still in a mall, and they're holding up and they're surviving. There's even like a pregnancy thing that's part of the storyline here. There's even the ammo store that's like part of the thing here. But he makes some different choices. Like here, the walkers are a little bit more, a little smarter. I'll say walkers because that was one of the parts I loved about the audio description track was it kept referring to them as the Walking Dead, and I was like, oh my god, just stop catering to me. Stop trying to bring me in as a Walking Dead fan. But I loved how it kept referring to the zombies as the Walking Dead. I was like, oh my god, thank you. But yeah, Romero actually, he made like a 2 hour and 15-minute movie here. I forgot how long this movie was. I was like, damn, dude. All right. I did not realize. So for me, like choosing the films, I think the first film, Romero's film, feels longer as a result and more dramatic, actually. It feels oddly dramatic for its genre. For you talking about like George Romero and sort of like what he was known for with practical effects and gore, this feels like really dramatic for him. You know, it feels like you're watching some sort of like epic piece that happens to have some violence in it as well. And then at the same time, Snyder's piece has so many people in it that the action just keeps going. It just keeps going and going and going. A little bit more realistic too, because nobody has to learn how to fly a helicopter. So that's a big plus. Here you've got like 4 people and somebody happens to have the skill of flying a helicopter. So, you can't win them all. But I actually think this is a really strong version, and I think if you have never seen a Romero film, I have a feeling that for horror directors nowadays, that their influences include Romero and Argento. So if you haven't seen a Romero film and an Argento film, then and you're going to try to come in here and talk about like Ari Aster, it's like, where did you think they came from? Like, where do you think he metabolized just like out of nowhere? He just popped up and was like, yep, I've seen no films. No, they watched from people like that. They watched like John Carpenter. You know, there are certain people that they most likely, Wes Craven, you know, like some of the horror masters that they watch. So you kind of have to at least have one. And I realized I don't have a review of a George Romero film, and it's the 20th anniversary of Snyder's version of Dawn of the Dead. So it's a great time to also talk about Romero's version of Dawn of the Dead. I really like it. Surprisingly so. It is a little long, it drags. So yes, I would take Snyder's version over Romero's. But I have full respect for this. But I cannot deny the fact that yes, it is a little... It's a 2 hour and 15-minute movie that feels 2 hours and 15 minutes. So, that's really the only thing. For considering I don't really know who these actors are in terms of their careers. It's not like we had like he wasn't able to get like top talent for this time. I think they do a really good job. I definitely like the main guy, who I feel like totally inspired the casting of Ving Rhames. I feel like this guy's character, he's got that. He feels like Ving Rhames' father. They feel so close together. I feel like I was like, is Ving Rhames in this? This dude is so close. I'm like, man, no wonder Ving Rhames was in the 2004 version. I think he plays Steven in this. Like, Steven is fucking perfect. So, yeah. I, of all the characters, like, of the four of them, I was like, that dude, I want that dude to survive. That dude is amazing. Um, so, should you check it out? Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like, uh, it's going to be hard to find and a pain in the ass. But at some point, just if you're here because you like film and you want to watch film, and you want to expand your horizons, and you're like, well, how do you really dip your toe into being a film critic? It's like, well, there's like a list of directors where you should at least see some of their films. It's not just all about like watching the right films and going down like the IMDb top 250 list, because Romero isn't on there. But if you don't watch a George Romero film, you don't understand like what he brought to the table as a director, then you've missed the point. So, yeah. Now I have a review up for George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Look at that. I probably should start with Night of the Living Dead, but you know, it just, that film's considered to be perfect, so nobody remade it. So there's not a anniversary that lined up perfectly with Dawn of the Dead. Anyway, there's reasons why. So since I'm dropping on the same day the Snyder version, I figured I should drop the Romero version as well. Talk about both of them. It's fun. You can see what James Gunn was pulling from when he decided to go with Dawn of the Dead, and the changes that he made, but also like the realism of this film is a lot more than I think people give it credit for. I think they think he's just here for like schlocky gore, and it's not really what this film is. Film works as a film, like as a serious film. I could have done without some of the smart walkers. I thought that was one of the things also about like The Walking Dead that I really hated, was when I started doing that and they were like, oh, the walkers are starting to learn. They were the whole thing, and it's like, come on now. So like there's like a zombie who like picks up a wrench. I'm like, no, don't do that. There's like a zombie that like just sits down at one point. I was like, what is happening here? So like there were a couple times where a zombie would do something. I was like, no. I love you, Romero. No, but no. I think you're probably trying to do or say something here, but no. I'm not here for it. I'm not having it. So, a couple little things, but otherwise I think the film's really good. So, I'm going to give George Romero's, or George A. Romero's, Dawn of the Dead, I'm going to give it a B+. Yep. I do prefer Zack Snyder's version, but there's a lot here that I like. For somebody who is not necessarily a massive horror fan, I really like the direction that Romero has a lot of the stuff here. A couple choices I would not have made, but I'm quite impressed, and the film still holds up, still slaps. It's an oldie, but a goodie. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.